a powerful collective force for change, parliamentarian for a prosperous global digital future. It's the theme for today that resonates as we stand at the crossroad of rapidly evolving digital landscape. Digital technologies have transformed nearly every aspect of our lives, connecting people, cultures, and economies. However, these advancements also present challenges that transcend borders, such as data privacy, cybersecurity, and equitable access to digital resources. Addressing these requires strong legislative frameworks and international cooperation. Today's session will explore how parliaments can harmonize efforts to address digitalization challenges and maximize its benefits. We are joined today by distinguished parliamentarians who bring unique perspective shaped by their regional expertise. Let me introduce our esteemed panelists. His Excellency Haykab Arshakian, the Vice President of the National Assembly of the Republic of Armenia, focusing on Armenia's role in advancing regional digital innovation. Mrs. Pilvasha Mohammad Zaykhan, a senator from Pakistan, focusing on South Asia digital governance challenges. She's the chairperson of Standing Committee on Information Technology of the Senate. Honorable Mr. Sigbjørn Gjelsvik, a member of the parliament from Norway, emphasizing a global data privacy and cybersecurity. Honorable Maria Ilago, a member of the parliament from Namibia, a leader in advancing Africa's digital transformation strategy. Dr. Isa Al-Atabi, a member of the Shura Council from Saudi Arabia, he is the chairman of Transportation, Communication, and Information Technology Committee. Last but not least, Mrs. Pamela Kaiti. She's a member of the parliament from Argentina, promoting digital inclusion and regional cooperation in Latin America. Welcome to all our great panelists. We have many pillars today to discuss, and we will dive deep into the first pillar, that it is basically focusing on how we could use digitalization to expand across border. We will dive deep into the role that should parliaments play in shaping the international digital governance frameworks. Starting with you, Your Excellency, Mr. Haykab Arshakian. So Armenia have made advancement in regional digital innovation. How can Armenia's parliament leverage its advancement to foster stronger cooperation within its international scope?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank for this invite, and it is great to be here in this excellent, great environment in the country, and of course it is in this very beautiful palace. Thanks for the question. It's very important. I think Armenia has done significant steps in his recent history on growing high-tech sector, and which is very much connected to the connectivity and internet and digital infrastructure. We have got more than 50,000 employees in Armenia, who are making more than 7% of the GDP of the country. Different international companies, local companies, startups, some of them are unicorns, more than $1 billion valuation companies, and they are contributing very much to the industry, as well as to the infrastructure and governance system itself, and the policy also. Because, for example, we have an Internet Governance Council, which includes parliament members, includes people from ministry. It is headed by the Vice Minister for High-Tech Industry, and there are organizations, telecommunication operators, and different other NGOs, including the regulatory members, who are together influencing the policies of the internet governance itself. Because sometimes we face the challenge of the lack of knowledge, both in the government or in the parliament, because of the very rapid growth of the technology itself. So Armenia wants to share its knowledge in different ways. One of the ways, of course, in participation of this kind of valuable conferences. Another way is, of course, creating frameworks that we already have as and examples and sharing that with our partners. For example, we have in the IPU, International Parliamentary Union, there is a science and technology working group. I am trying to contribute also in the framework of these working groups, as well as different international organizations. I think the digital excellency and digital agenda is the thing that no only country can survive or have a success, because it's an interconnectivity the first. In cybersecurity, in artificial intelligence, in blockchain technologies, everywhere, if we don't shape our policies, we will become very much localized, which is not bringing to a growth. So we should be more of a internationalized. Of course, there are some other questions that are rising, for example, the digital sovereignty in that kind of, when we move to that direction. However, there is no other way of having a balance, the right balance, to be open and to be protected and to be integrated and also to have a digital sovereignty. So we are open for cooperation and we are thankful for the other countries and states for sharing their experience. Thank you so much.
That's indeed a huge strides, I would say, in digital innovation, Your Excellency. Moving to you, Mrs. Bilbasha. So, given Pakistan efforts to implement its digital Pakistan vision and the challenges of regulatory fragmentation in South Asia, how can Pakistan Parliament lead in fostering regional digital cooperation?
Thank you very much. I'd once again like to thank IGF and the Shura Council for giving us this opportunity. So see, I personally believe that all of us are sitting here, some are from the developing world and some are from the less developed world. Each of us have our own particular environments, and no two environments are the same. Each of us have our own pace in this march towards connectivity and digital revolution. And our pace is shaped by our circumstances. And when I say circumstances, I mean all of us are politically different. All of us are, culturally different. We are economically at different places. And so we have our challenges.
Right.
So we are not going to march at the same pace together, but of course, even standing where Pakistan is standing today, I call it a success story because Pakistan is generally a youthful country. More than 60% of the population are below 30 years of age. So that's a huge something that helps us go ahead with this revolution. And I'd like to praise the young people. I've met so many who have come here on their own yesterday. And I was surprised to see the number of people, the number of youngsters who have come here on their own, and they're here spending their own money and trying to be a part of this very important conference. So that really surprised me, although I am the chairperson of the Senate Standing Committee on Information Technology, and I keep hearing, but seeing them here at this global forum, now I realize that this is our success story. This 60% of population that is young and open to ideas and very tech savvy is our future. And I would also like to say that in Pakistan, perhaps the government has not supported the IT industry as it should have, because of course we have our economic problems, we have our security problems, we have a host of problems. But this revolution has been led by the youth of Pakistan. And they have done it by their own efforts. And the main force in leading this revolution is their own hard work. They're reaching out to the rest of the world. And by dint of merit and their hard work, they have managed to create a vibrant IT industry in Pakistan, where we have a huge number of freelancers who make their living by pursuing different projects worldwide. And that makes me very proud to say that these people have penetrated the global IT industry. There are many who are working everywhere in the world. There are many who are working in Pakistan, but there are many who are a part of the global IT revolution. I'd also like to say that this is purely by dint of merit and determination. And we are very optimistic that we will convert, because a young population is a plus point, is a human resource that we have. And we are going to make the best use of it. And they are the ones who are going to drive this story of prosperity. I'd like to mention that we have the fourth largest number of freelancers in the world today. And believe me, we have to do more for them. We try and do, the government tries and, they're trying to do more, make policies, which I'll come back to later. But they are themselves, the credit goes to the young people of Pakistan. And I think it's a great success story. This is where the Parliament is trying to step in, will step in to ensure that we do whatever we can do to make this, go many steps ahead.
Wonderful. I just wanted to echo what you've said, how youth are really the driving force, and this is what we have seen in Saudi, where youth is the cornerstone of the Vision 2030 transformation in Saudi Arabia. Moving to you, Mr. Yelsvik, would like to hear more about the role of the Parliament in your country in shaping the international digital governance frameworks.
Well, thank you so much, and Excellencies and distinguished colleagues. It's an honor to be here. And in our interconnected world, parliaments play a key role in shaping digital governance. We must ensure digital policies are inclusive, secure, and beneficial for all. In Norway, we have seen the benefits of strong digital policies. These policies promote inclusivity and security. We aim to create a legislative environment that encourages innovation while protecting rights and privacy. However, the spread of social media and breakthrough in artificial intelligence have made it possible to spread disinformation faster and to more people than before, amidst increased international security challenges. Norway believes the internet should remain open and accessible. We are committed to supporting the Global Digital Compact with the goal of connecting all people to the internet. This will require significant investment from governments and stakeholders, especially the private sector. However, we must also ensure that everyone can use the internet meaningfully and safely. The Internet Governance Forum is crucial for maintaining a universal, free, and secure internet. It must continue as a bottom-up, multi-stakeholder platform for dialogue on internet policy issues. Increasing diversity in IGF participation is essential, and Norway will encourage broad participation in next year's IGF in Norway. We are committed to working against internet shutdowns and protecting the right to information and freedom of speech. Human rights are important to protect and promote both online and in our physical world. We will continue to work with partners and the IGF against all forms of online violence in accordance with international standards and human rights law. Last year, I led the Norwegian delegation to IGF in Japan as Norway's Minister for Digital Policy. We worked to promote an open, global and free internet, emphasizing the importance of avoiding state regulations that hinders development and innovation. It's a pleasure to continue my participation here in Riyadh as a member of Parliament this year. And I look forward to contributing to next year's IGF, which Norway will host in June 2025. Thank you so long.
Wonderful. Indeed, Norway is providing really an exemplary, I would say, it's an exemplary leader, especially in the data governance, data cybersecurity, and data security as well. It's nice to hear all of these stories. Moving to you, Maria. So Namibia plays a crucial role in advancing Africa's digital transformation strategy. How can Namibia parliaments ensure its national ICT goals align with broader regional efforts?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I would like to thank the IGF organizers for inviting me. I feel honored to be here. Parliament are more than policy makers. They are the architect of fair, inclusive, and secure digital future. Namibia has already taken impressive steps forward, providing that progress does not always require massive population. It requires clear vision and action. Take Namibia's Access to Information Act number 8 of 2022. It's a big step forward towards transparency and empowering citizens with the tools to make informed decisions. But here is the thing. Access alone is not enough. Digital information must be clear, understandable, and available in languages that resonate with people. Otherwise, it is like giving someone the key to a library, but the books are written in a language they don't speak. Namibia's digital strategy aligns well with regional and global priorities. Look at Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, which balances innovation with governance. Namibia is already on this path, focused on expanding information and communication technology, ICT access, creating digital job opportunities, and supporting e-governance. The challenge now is accelerating this momentum through strong policies that make sure no one gets left behind. Most importantly, Namibia must continue to claim its seat on global platforms like the United Nations Digital Forums and the Southern Africa Development Community, SADC. The population size does not define leadership vision. Reforming governance in the digital age isn't easy, but Namibia is showing that with determination, it is absolutely achievable. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Maria, and it's really great to hear all of these advances. Moving to you, Dr. Isa, and with Saudi Arabia leadership in digital governance and global forums like G20, how can the Shura Council support the international efforts to create equitable digital frameworks?
Thank you so much, Dr. Najwa, for moderating this important session, and it's a pleasure to join this panel. And I would like to extend my warm welcoming to everyone here to be in Saudi Arabia. Now, to address your question, actually, Najwa, our Shura Council has a shared responsibility to ensure that that digital transformation benefits everyone, not just for specific region or for specific groups. Therefore, the question becomes, how do we achieve that? Well, the first the first step is to recognize that digitalization is a global movement. This means that no single nation can manage its opportunities or its challenges alone. Why? Because it has reflected on all of us worldwide. Here in Saudi Arabia, we have been involved in the past couple of years in efforts such as the G20 Digital Economy Working Group, which has been working on issues such as AI, ethics, and digital taxation. Secondly, in our Shura Council, needs to continue to actively engage in shaping international digital governance framework, and we can harmonize legislation across border to create compatible data privacy and data protection and cybersecurity standards. Another role for our Shura Council could be to ensure more inclusivity. This means providing better access to digital transformation and digital infrastructure in underserved regions within and across different countries. As we lawmaker, we can actually allocate essential resources to better prioritize investment in general. Also, the Shura Council should be better in protecting against the future impact of emerging technology by adapting legislation for that reason. Finally, I would just like to say that in doing so, our Shura Council can continue to serve as a bridge between government, civil society, and private sector and international bodies in the shaping of international digital government framework in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isa. And I can also reflect on what you're saying, because we've seen it on a daily basis, all these governance kind of activities that we are facing or living in Saudi, including the personal data law, PDBL, there is the NDMO regulations, there is the ethical guidelines for performing AI, which is something that's been implemented in both private and public sectors. So this is really a reality that we are facing on a daily basis. And thank you so much for your input. Moving to you, Mrs. Kaiti. Argentina's focus on digital governance and regional collaboration is critical for Latin America. What role should the Argentinian parliament play in strengthening the cross-border digital policies?
Good afternoon. Well, I'm Argentinian, so I'm going to speak in Spanish. Fortunately,
so in a world that we can consider traditional, cooperation between regions is inevitable when we talk about the digital world, where the interconnectivity is essentially in the DNA of cooperation. We cannot imagine not having cross-border cooperation, right? But let me clarify that when we talk about the digital world and the real world, definitely there's only one reality. It's just the two sides of one coin. And today, virtuality is reality. And this is not a difference that's just intellectual. but it has factual implications because it indeed implies that the human is the beginning, the end, and the center of every single one of our actions, regardless of which stage of this human life is moving in or the human rights of this person. So in this way, the world we call traditional or historical interrupts or disrupts technologies. It implies a transition that's natural in humanity. Let's consider the scientific revolution like Galileo Galilei, Copernicus, Newton. Imagine the disruption they had in the status quo, in the social relationships, in the economy, and the cultural revolution that the Renaissance implied, for example, where they had an anthropocentric vision where human was the axis of everything that existed. The Industrial Revolution, imagine the gap that was created when there was industrial revolution in gender, in the difference between rural and the urban, the way people related to each other, the revolution now in technology and communication as well, radio, the internet, television, and now we're talking about the digital revolution. So we mean with this crypto, AI, quantum computing, and we shouldn't lose sight that all these technologies are tools that should benefit humanity. So what's the role we can have as parliamentaries? I believe in first place we should reduce the drama in the situation. This is just something normal that humanity has been through so many times, like as I said in the Industrial Revolution or any other of these historical moments, and we all came through. So remember the human, the person, it should be always at the center. So let's lose all prejudice, all fear, and the biased interest in this, and understand that all these challenges are going to be faced in a collaborative manner. Private sector, CSOs, the parliamentaries, and the scientific community, the academia, the technical community, and the citizens. Since we were kids and let's say the history of humanity in the traditional way, we learned to be citizens in this traditional world. However, nowadays, all of us beyond our citizenship, regardless if we are Argentinian, Arab, Norwegian, we are digital citizens, inside and outside. So there's a big role in education. So I believe that parliamentaries, first of all, should lose this prejudice, because we are lawmakers, we create regulations, and we have an advantage, which is that we can create new laws that create rights and obligations. The limitation, though, is the territorial aspect. So that's a challenge for us as lawmakers, the cooperation at local, regional, and international levels. At the end, as lawmakers, we shouldn't forget that when we create a law or a rule, it has an advantage. It has different possibilities to create public measures, but it also takes time to create these laws, and technologies are advancing so fast that when we are trying to create frameworks and legal environments, we shouldn't forget that we have to keep in mind the logic of the technologies that we are trying to regulate.
I like what you're saying, that all these regulations need to be human-centered at the end, because we're all digital citizens at the end. Moving to this next, so we covered the first pillar, and we really have these great insights by our great panelists. Let's move to the second pillar, which will dive deep into the challenges that the Parliament face in actively contributing to the global digital governance frameworks. So I will start with Your Excellency, Mr. Arkarshian. So Armenia works to expand and enhance its digital infrastructure environment. So what do you think the Armenian plans in supporting the extension of that infrastructure to enable the international connectivity.
Thank you. First, I'd like to reflect to what my colleague from Argentina just said about drama. I believe every industrial revolution brought drama with it, starting from the engines to the electricity and then to the internet and now AI. And the humanity should grow and the technology will grow. We want it or not, but we should grow further. And of course, and drama comes with a lack of information or lack of knowledge, but we should not be afraid of being more digitalized or more smart and use more technologies. I think it creates more opportunities for every one of us, and especially for the future generations to have more access to the health, to the information, as my colleague from Norway said, and be more free, have more rights. So coming to the infrastructure, thanks for the questions. Armenia has been a long time had a close border with the neighbor of Azerbaijan and another neighbor of Turkey, Turkey. So now we have had a new initiative, the Armenian government, which is called Crossroads of Peace. So in that concept, our proposal is to open all the roads and the railways that are blocked right now, and also include the connectivity pipelines, if we may say, which will go connect east with the west and the north with the south. Right now, there are large infrastructural projects happening in Armenia, and we think that connectivity and infrastructure will bring prosperity as well as will bring stability and peace among all the countries. Also, it will connect the international capacities with each other, the countries in the larger region, so they will have also their attention to our region. So this is the new and large initiatives which I would like to also call our international partners to support and to also contribute, maybe have their businesses there, as it is, those are infrastructures that will also bring health and prosperity to the people and to the businesses as well. Another part of the connectivity projects is, of course, satellite communications, and which we already allocated the frequencies and gave the licenses to the private sector, so they can organize also satellite communication, internet communication. And it was, I very much agree with a friend, colleague from Norway, when he said about freedom of speech, but I would like to also add that digitization process helps the transparency of the bureaucracy of the countries, and it also helps prevention of the corruption. And doing business in the indexes rises with also a free internet and the free connectivity. And I think when my colleague from Pakistan said that many people are working through the internet and having their money as a freelancer, why do they do that? Because you provide them free internet, as well as you give them the public policy that gives them enough transparency and less bureaucracy to make their business in the right way. This direction is also familiar for Armenia. We just adopted a law that gives privilege to the freelancers for just 1% of the revenue fee as a tax, and that's it. So it's very easy. You make your money, you pay 1% to the government, and that's it. And with one click. And the taxation system is all digitalized. Every business enjoys it. And of course, the risk prevention is also artificial intelligence based. So it also helps the government to be transparent and free of corruption. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, prosperous infrastructure will definitely boost the digital economy. I 100% agree with you. Moving to Mrs. Bilbasha. So given Pakistan's effort to implement its digital Pakistan vision and the challenges in regulatory apologies, I'm just repeating the question, but let me rephrase it again. So Pakistan faces challenges such as an uneven digital adoption and cybersecurity threats. How can the Parliament address these obstacles to strengthen its role in global governance?
Thank you. Maybe I was not very clear, but I still feel what I said in the beginning is a base on which I will now make my argument. Pakistan faces a number of challenges in this digital age, and how we embrace them is also, it's quite an effort, and it's a very delicate balance. Some of the important challenges that we are currently facing, I'll just tell you a few. The top is the cybersecurity threats that we face. Pakistan faces increasing cybersecurity, cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure, including energy, banking, public services. And according to an estimate, spyware attacks in Pakistan witnessed an alarming surge in the first quarter of this current year, escalating by a staggering 300% just in this year, compared to the same period in 2023. So there is a signal that there is a growing menace of espionage and data infiltration. So the thing is that most of these, about 22% of these detected high severity incidents are recorded in the government sector, followed by the IT companies, and then closely followed by financial institutions and industries and so on and so forth. So our biggest challenge is to counter these cybersecurity threats, and Pakistan has risen to the Tier 1 role modeling rating and is now amongst the top 40 countries in the Global Cybersecurity Index. So we are making progress, and this has been issued by the ITU. So it's a notable improvement from our position, which was about 79th position a few years ago. So this advancement reflects that Pakistan is dedicated to strengthening its cybersecurity. And then we also have problems with data privacy and governance. We have had an absence of comprehensive personal data protection, and we felt how it left citizens quite vulnerable. So the need pushed the Parliament to legislate on it. It is this Personal Data Protection Act is an act that we have been working on for the past many months, and it is now almost in the final stages of being made an act. It's going to be passed. We also have surveillance concerns and unregulated data collection. That also requires parliamentary intervention. We have a lot of data. Currently, we have regulations regarding data protection. I won't bore you with the long list. But then I'll come to the third greatest challenge we have, which is, of course, the digital divide. There is a digital divide in the world. There is a digital divide within countries. So in case of Pakistan also, we are not all, all of Pakistan is not digitally connected equally. So there is a great divide, and that is, of course, based on areas that are hard to reach, then the political environments that exist in those areas, of course. Then we also have our, the legal environments, we have political environments, we have our social issues. So in terms of Pakistan, this is one of the key areas that we are now going to be addressing, So I'll tell you a few things that we are going to be doing currently. We're going to be start auctioning our 5G spectrum very soon. Our 4G network coverage is now almost 80%, 81%. And that has risen to 81% in 2024. Our average broadband connection speed is improved much better than what it was last year. And then our exports have now risen to 3.25 billion. And now this is where we get an idea of how IT can help a staggering economy. And this is again where the youth come in. Because this is, you know, my colleague here was mentioning how, you know, governments create environments for the youth to make this difference. But in Pakistan's case, they have made us realize, and they have pushed us to, you know, take a part in active, you know, policy making to help them. So I will not take the credit away from them. Also then the AI. AI needs to be regulated, and especially in countries like ours where political environments are quite, can be hostile, and we as a nation are very emotional. We do not hesitate to take to the streets in minutes, and then we you know, find out later that the news was fake.
Yeah.
So in order to avoid this, we are in the process of, Pakistan is amongst the few countries which are actively working on regulating the use of AI. And in this regard, we have tabled a bill titled the Regulation of Artificial Intelligence Bill 2024, which is being introduced, and it's being debated. So we will, inshallah, make our first artificial intelligence policy, and we will announce it by early 2025. So these are some of the issues that we face, and the others, I mean, there are a host of issues, but the others are, maybe I can, you know, somehow touch upon them.
But I think there are many great steps have been taken. I think starting with the Data Foundation by doing some sort of regulation. And maybe this is a topic, if we really have time later on, we could touch base on how do you manage between extreme regulation and also innovation, because some regulation might impede steps in innovation. But maybe this is in a later discussion. I will need to move to you, Mr. Gjelsvik, to talk more about what sort of challenges that you face in Norway, and what are the steps that have been taken to face them.
Well, thank you so much. I think we must acknowledge the challenges parliaments face in digital governance. One major challenge is the rapid pace of technological change. Legislators often struggle to keep up, leading to outdated policies. Another challenge is the lack of technical experience. Many parliamentarians do not have background in digital technologies. This can make it hard to understand and also address complex issues. This gap can hinder effective legislation. Balancing national interest with global cooperation is also a challenge. We must protect our citizens and economies while working together to create international frameworks. This requires balance and also compromises. To overcome these challenges, we must invest in capacity building. Parliamentarians need the knowledge and tools to address digital issues. We must foster a culture of continuous learning and collaboration, both within our parliaments and internationally. Norway is committed to ensuring the internet development sustainably. We believe the IGF should remain a vital platform for open dialogue on internet governance. We are also committed to working against internet shutdowns and protecting the right to information and freedom of speech. Our new Electronic Communication Act in Norway strengthens security and consumer rights. This legislation ensures our digital infrastructure is secure and protects consumer rights, reflecting our commitment to a safe and inclusive digital environment. And I will also say additionally, the Norwegian government is working on a strategy particularly directed strengthening the resilience in our population against disinformation. This strategy highlights that fighting disinformation requires working together for a strong democracy where citizens have access to correct and reliable information that promotes freedom and diversity of expression. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Maria, so Namibia faces the challenges of bridging the digital divide, which is something we've just touched base with it with Mrs. Pulvasha. How do you see the parliaments in Namibia basically looking into the issues, solving these issues within Namibia?
Thank you very much. Namibia, like many other countries, are also face challenges, but we are solving them step by step. Number one, bridging the digital divide. Rural and underserved areas often lack strong connectivity, but Namibia is tackling this through projects like National Broadband Policy, which aims to ensure that internet access reaches the most remote communities. This is not just about infrastructure, it's about giving every citizen a fair chance to participate in the digital economy. Number two, staying ahead of emerging technologies. Digital literacy is a key. Technologies like artificial intelligence, software that can think and learn, and blockchain, a secure way of managing digital data, are becoming central to global systems. Namibia's parliament is catching up quickly by prioritizing ICT skills and training programs, ensuring lawmakers and citizens alike understand and embrace these innovations. Number three, representation on global platforms. Namibia may not yet be as loud as others in the global conversation, but our presence is growing. Events like this one allow Namibia to share its success and learn from global leaders. Participation is our strength, and we are providing that we belong at the table. Challenges are not setbacks, they are opportunities to innovate. Namibia is taking steady strides, and our parliament is well positioned to shape governance. Frameworks that are both globally relevant and locally impactful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving to you, Dr. Isa. And I think the Saudi Arabia Ambitious Vision 2030 aims for digital leadership. But we see cybersecurity and data privacy remain key focuses at the time being. So how do you see the Shura Council will help to manage these priorities?
Thank you, Najwa. And to address this question, let's break it down into key points. Firstly, the incredible speed of changing technology has made it harder for legislative bodies to keep pace, especially when addressing issues around technology concepts such as AI or blockchain. Therefore, the Shura Council has already trained on all aspects of digital governance. This way, we are giving equal priority to all three aspects: digital leadership, data privacy, and cybersecurity. Secondly, since global coordination is complex to achieve, and it's one of the main reasons why we are all sitting here today. Different countries have different priorities, but by coming together like today, we can figure out and see the best way to balance the priorities of digital leadership, cybersecurity, and data privacy. This is something actually Saudi Arabia has already been working on by hosting events such as global cybersecurity forum, and also global artificial intelligence summit, where voice from across the country over the world brought together to discuss the future of emerging technology. Thirdly, one major challenge as my colleague said, is the lack of coordination between the government and the parliament. To address this, the Shura Council is still working closely with the government ministries to develop digital policies under Saudi Vision 2030. Actually, we have already created, signed, passed, and implemented 13 regulation laws related to government, related to governing the internet and information technology, such as personal data protection law, anti-cyber crime law, and also telecommunication and information technology law. We have also we have also passed and implemented more than 24 international memorandums on information technology. We are proud to say that Saudi Arabia currently ranks 5th globally out of 140 countries for the speed of its internet, and we were #1 in the global cybersecurity rank in 2024. Finally, Saudi Arabia was ranked as the 2nd in communication and IT development index, which issued by the ITU in 2024. This is something we are extremely proud of, as we feel it shows our ability to effectively balance the priority of digital leadership, cybersecurity, and data privacy. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Finally, moving to you, Mrs. Kaiti. Argentina efforts in digital inclusion and the broadband expansion are promising, but resources constraints persist. How can the Parliament address these challenges?
Well, it is quite difficult to talk about my colleagues that had such profound participations, but in general, in Argentina, as in many other countries, we're dealing with local challenges, regional challenges, and also international challenges. And I would like to mention 5 of these ones. But before that, I want to start by saying or mentioning one of them, which is the digital gap that our parliamentary colleagues were mentioning. And I would like to start by giving an example. I come from Argentina, from a province in the north. I don't come from the capital, but from a quite poor province. And we are next to Bolivia. And we have people in the rural areas that don't have access to the internet, which is the reality of a lot of people in the global south. So there is a policy from our government, and we recently provided different digital antennas for the connection of these children in rural areas. These cross the river through donkeys to get to different schools. Then we managed to install them, and we managed to watch the World Cup, and luckily Argentina won. So the children were very happy to be able to watch the World Cup. But it's very crazy the fact that an antenna for digital connection should cross a river on a donkey, because our children actually go to school by donkey. And this is a reality globally. So which are these challenges? Well, clearly disinformation. Disinformation, which actually, when it's rooted, it is very, very dangerous. Let's think about COVID. Cybersecurity counts on more and more attacks, but they are always more and more precise, and it requires technical abilities of people that are not prepared enough. So obviously in Latin America and Argentina, this is more so. Also, the gap among the different employees, the workers that require more abilities. Therefore, we need clearly more capacitation, more capacity building. Also, the gap of access to technology, first to infrastructure. We need to think that in the world, 1 out of 3 people are disconnected. And I used to say, when I said earlier that the virtual is real. And 1 out of 3 people actually, but moreover, in the case of Latin America and Argentina, it is 1 out of 2 people. So we are 6 people here. So if it would be 1 out of 3, I mean only 4 of us would have access, but most likely Maria from Namibia and I most probably would have the worst connection, because not only we come from the southern hemisphere, but we are also women. So 1 out of 3 are disconnected, as I said. In my country, 1 out of 2. So you should also look to your left and to your right. So either one of you would be connected and the other one wouldn't be, or if they are, wouldn't be connected, or also wouldn't have the translator to understand because they don't have these abilities. This is the issue of the digital gap. We also have the age gap. Seniors, 60 plus years old, are also disconnected. So we have many challenges in terms of this digital gap. So it is clearly fundamental that we should reduce these, and each revolution that happened in the past generated these gaps, and we didn't manage to overcome them, but also now they've deepened. So therefore we clearly need international cooperation. And I also want to mention the other challenges: disinformation, also information manipulation, cybersecurity, because if we don't have data governance, we don't have cybersecurity. In that case, we're not going to have actual governance. AI governance, sorry. We cannot talk about responsible AI governance if we don't have data governance. Also, the environmental impact. The environmental impact of this digital innovation, this is something that we also need to tackle. And this is a great opportunity because AI allows as well to advance in the reduction of this environmental impact. And then finally, data privacy. It is fundamental as well. And we need to think that citizens, all of us, we give our data, we don't know whom to, of people that monetize this data. And if I told you now that all of us are going to give our phones, our data, our medical data, purchasing data, all of them to anyone or to the state, what would you say? A lady should say that. Well, it would be crazy. Well, actually, this is actually happening. All the citizens are providing all this data. They're being monetized, and by a click, because otherwise we would be out of the system. So in this sense, we shouldn't be scared of regulation. Regulation is not about prohibiting. It's actually an important condition so we have a sustainable development that is also inclusive and democratic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. And Pamela, sorry. So I see really there are many common challenges that have been mentioned across different countries. Just to be cautious of time, I'm going to skip one of the pillars that we wanted to discuss today, and we will move to the great news that Norway will host next IGF in June 2025. So this is a question to you, Mr. Gjelsvik. What do you see the actionable outcomes that should emerge for Parliament from this IGF?
Well, thank you so much. And as Norway prepares to host the next IGF in June 2025, I envision actionable outcomes that empowers parliaments. We need capacity building programs for parliamentarians. These programs should enhance digital literacy, understanding of emerging technologies, and skills to address digital challenges. we should establish a global network of parliamentarians dedicated to digital governance, I think. This network would facilitate continuous dialogue, knowledge sharing, and collaboration. By working together, we can harmonize legislation, address common challenges, and promote best practices. We should focus on creating actionable policy recommendations. These should address key issues like cyber security, data privacy, digital inclusion, and the ethical use of technology. I hope the next IGF will foster stronger partnership between parliaments and other stakeholders. These partnerships are essential for a cohesive and inclusive digital future. Norway will work to uphold freedom of expression, equality, media diversity, and resilience against disinformation. We also aim to promote an international legal order in the digital space. Let us ensure that the next IGF builds on our progress and drive meaningful change. Our new Electronic Communication Act in Norway includes provision for broadband access for all. This legislation ensures everyone in Norway has access to a functional internet and that our digital infrastructure is robust and secure. The recent adoption of the landmark resolution on the impact of AI on democracy, human rights, and the rule of law at the EPU Assembly in Geneva highlights the importance of a responsible AI governance. The resolution calls for transparency, accountability, and the protection of human rights in AI development. It emphasizes the need to address AI-driven misinformation, gender-based violence, and economic inequalities. These principles should guide our efforts as we move forward. 2025 is a special year for the Internet Governance Forum. It marks the 20th anniversary of the IGF, and the year the UN will review the forum's mandate. The event in Norway will celebrate the global multi-stakeholder model of Internet governance and set the course for its future organization. I'm pleased that the UN has awarded Norway the hosting of IGF in 2025, showing trust in our ability to bring together the global community for important discussions about the Internet's future role. Open discussions about Internet governance and close international cooperation are crucial to ensuring the Internet remains open, safe, and free for everyone. As the host country, Norway will facilitate an inclusive forum where governments, the private sector, civil society, academia, technical experts, and international and intergovernmental organizations can exchange knowledge and viewpoints. Together we will address the challenges we face. This multi-stakeholder model is the cornerstone of the IGF and the global Internet governance. Today, the Internet is one of the world's most important infrastructures. And it's governed through a multi-stakeholder model where all relevant parties collectively handle its challenges and governance. And Norway wants this governance model to be preserved and strengthened in the United Nations. Having participated in the IGF last year in Japan and now here in Riyadh this year, I also look forward to contribute to next year's IGF, which Norway will host in June 2025, and I will welcome you warmly to Norway next June. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. We all look forward to IGF 2025 in Norway. Now it's time for a reflection session. So I would gonna ask all our great parliaments who are with us today to give us a one actionable step that you think your parliament can take to strengthen the global digital governance. Starting with you, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Of course, it's difficult after this very fruitful discussion to come up with one action item. I think as my colleague just announced, IGF 2025 in Norway, we are going to participate to that with the delegation from the Parliament, and we'll do contributions to that. I think this is first that come to my mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Bivasha.
Could you kindly repeat?
So basically, if there is any actionable outcome, one actionable outcome that you think from the discussion that we have today, that you think your parliament can take to strengthen the global digital governance?
I feel my esteemed colleague from Norway has made a very, it's a point we need to ponder upon.
If you can just raise the microphone.
Maybe we should have a collaboration between all the parliaments and have a global forum for enhancement of in facilitating global digital governance and enact laws that go hand in hand together and foster collaboration, contributing to international dialogue towards that goal. I feel such a forum would be very productive, and it would go a long way in removing most of the hurdles that we have when we communicate with each other's parliaments, which we do, like Pakistan is part of many legal and legislative initiatives for alignment with global standards. But if such a forum comes into being, I think many things will be streamlined.
Great, thanks so much. What about you? What do you think the one actionable outcome that you wanted or steps that your parliament can take?
I just want to add one thing. I think it's very important to have cooperation between different partners and keep this multi-stakeholder model. And of course, it's important to have partnership with private sector, technical community, civil society, and also international organization. But I want to add one more thing that haven't been said so long. One successful initiative for us is our collaboration with youth leaders, and engaging with young people in the digital sphere has provided valuable insights. So this ensures our policies reflect their needs and aspirations. So I hope also for the next year IGF that we will engage and collaborate a lot with the youth leaders. Thank you.
Wonderful. Honorable Maria, is there any thoughts you would like to share?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are learning from global examples, and we are going to adapting strategies that make sense for us, whether it is expanding ICT infrastructure, supporting startup, or empowering rural communities. Namibia is providing some that small nation can dream it. If we can have a budget for digital training, it will be good for us in Namibia.
Thank you so much. Dr. Isa?
Thank you, Najwa. Actually, from my opinion, collaboration can only work if all stakeholders believe in one shape, in one shared vision. So I suggest we need to work together and define a clear and transparent dialogue mechanism. Let me give you one example of that. We could create national digital transformation councils, which would bring together parliamentarians and representatives from different sectors and from different countries to align on the necessary policies and implemented the strategies. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Kaliti, your thoughts?
Okay.
To conclude, I would like to convey a very simple message, but very direct as well, that is based on 4 questions that have 4 different possible answers. What, who, what, and what for. The what, I think, is necessary to create a framework, a general framework, regulatory one, for technologies that can respect the logic of these technologies, but that puts humanity in the center. The how, as my colleagues mentioned, through collaboration in regional and international levels. The IGF is a clear example of a global platform that's open, multi-stake, and where all the voices from different sectors are combined to achieve solutions. I also want to highlight the great work from the parliamentary track has been doing, and the team that has coordinated this, that has allowed parliamentaries to have a conversation, share good practices, regulations, so that we can strengthen our capabilities to face these challenges. Also, who? All the people involved, of course, private sector, academia, technical personnel, public sector. Parliamentaries are one example. That's why the parliamentary track is it's a good way to do this. The CSOs and citizens in general. And finally, what for, which is, I think, the most important, is the beginning of the end of all these conversations, is that all technologies, no matter which ones, are used in the benefit of humanity, where their rights and their dignity are the lighthouse for every decision we make. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I noticed that most of you have been actually highlighting the world collaboration. So in few minutes, if you can, just dive deep into how do you have or how do you implement strategies that could foster collaboration through the Parliament? Starting with you, Your Excellency, as we see that Armenian has a growing digital ecosystem, if you could just quickly highlight how do you encourage such a partnership and collaboration?
I think we have 2 main collaborative bodies in Armenia. One is the Science and Technology Development Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, to the head of the government, and I am the leader of the executive committee in that body. Yeah. I'm a parliamentarian. I mean, we basically, the thing is that there is also a gap between the government and the parliament. Yeah. Of course, we work in the same country even. However, the ministries, for example, the Ministry of High-Tech Industries is all the full job is technology and digitization. In the parliament, it's legislative work. Yeah. It's in general. And that's it. We might lack of knowledge, we might lack of information, we might lack of different kind of things, which creates some gaps between these 2 bodies. And we created this advisory council that engaged 2 parliamentarians. One is the vice speaker and another one head of the commission. The second one is, and also we have their scientists, entrepreneurs, different kind of technology company leaders who are also bringing in their experience into which is the strategic future of the country, like the government programs that will be implemented. It's strategic. Right. And the second one is, of course, digitization and internet, where we have an Internet Governance Council, where it is also created by the Prime Minister, and the parliamentarians, for the industry experts, everyone is there, and the regulatory and also the ministry is also there. And these are the 2 main bodies. One is science and technology, another one is connectivity and internet governance. So these are the 2 bodies who are giving us a look to the future and a strategic point of view.
Oh, great, thank you so much. What about you, Mrs. Pilbasha, if you could highlight the how do you foster the collaboration between government and stakeholders within the Parliament?
You see, we are already adopting global frameworks, as I said. We are also into regional collaboration. For example, the SAARC countries, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, we participate in SAARC initiatives to harmonize our trade, environmental, and technology laws. Similarly, I'll give you an example. We are also part of the China's Belt and Road Initiative, and Pakistan ensures legal compatibility in areas such as digital trade and investor protection. Furthermore, we also collaborate with the regional partners to address challenges related to cross-border data flow. We also ensure our participation in, of course, international forums such as this under the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, also the very important Financial Action Task Force. We also have extradition treaties, that's very interesting, for the extradition of cyber criminals. We have mutual legal assistance agreements. We have our training programs for capacity building. But in the Pakistani parliament, we have a tradition of having caucuses and friendship groups. For example, other than my responsibilities as a legislator, I also head the friendship group for Argentina. So all of us have a friendship group. Similarly, if there is an initiative, we could perhaps form a caucus for collaborating on digital issues with the rest of the world. Let's say we are already, it's a tested experiment as far as SAARC is concerned, which is quite a big body. We have many important, huge countries of the South Asian region. So we could expand it, and so could others, and we could have mutual agreements with other parliaments, and that's not very difficult. I mean, my colleague from Armenia knows it's fairly easy for the speaker or the chairman of a Senate or a parliament to initiate this.
Right.
And then when it gets initiated, it's fairly above bureaucratic controls. Parliament is above bureaucratic controls, and Parliament can take an initiative without going through the lengthy procedures. So and I would go back and advise my own chairman of the Senate to try and form such a forum and then reach out to all the countries that are represented in Pakistan at least.
Thank you for sharing that. Mr. Yalsvik, how Parliament manage the partnership, the collaboration between the private and the public sector in your country?
Yeah, thank you, and I think it's a very important question, and it's very essential that we could have a greater collaboration between parliaments and the stakeholders. And I think also that we must establish some formal mechanisms for dialogue and cooperation. For example, some regular meeting points or working groups, and perhaps also some collaborative projects that can bring together parliamentarians, industry experts, and civil society in common projects. These platforms allow us to share knowledge, discuss challenges, and develop solutions together. So I think that is very important question here at the end to discuss how we can develop this kind of cooperation. And like my colleague from Pakistan just mentioned, regional cooperation is also very important. And the Nordic countries has a long tradition in our region to have working together on digital issues, and the regional approach can serve as a model for other parts of the world as well, and not just only the Nordic countries, but we also have a lot of cooperation with the Baltic countries. So in our region, it's very important to have this kind of cooperation. But also, of course, on the international level, and we also take part in European cooperation and also follow the discussion inside the European Union about new legislation and also adopt it in Norway. And finally, Norway is, of course, very dedicated, as I always had pointed out, to improve the multi-stakeholder model. And the internet is crucial for businesses, and we aim to promote the Norwegian industry also into this cooperation. So keep to the multi-stakeholder model, but I think it's very important to have some tools and also have some cooperation, some working group that make some progress between these forums that is very important every year. Thank you.
100% agree. To you, Honorable Maria, we haven't touched base on the entrepreneurship. So how do you do this in your parliament? How do you manage to foster the collaboration between the private sector, inventors, and entrepreneurship just to boost the digital entrepreneurship?
Thank you. Here's the good news. Namibia already has some of the building blocks in place. Like number one, public-private partnership. Namibia's startup ecosystem is growing, driven by young, innovative entrepreneurs. Parliament can strengthen this by creating policies that support digital businesses like tax incentives, grants, and easier regulatory pathways. Like in South Africa, innovation hubs have shown how public-private collaboration can create jobs and solutions. Namibia can take this approach even further. Number two, inclusive policy making. Strong digital governance comes from listening to everyone. Every citizen, businesses, and civil society. Namibia's Access to Information Act lays the groundwork for inclusive decision making. Imagine town halls or digital consultation where people even in remote regions can voice their concern and ideas. Investing in digital education. Namibia has already prioritized ICT in schools, but we can go further by fostering partnership with global organizations like the AU or the UNESCO digital literacy programs, ensuring young Namibians understand tools like AI and cybersecurity doesn't just prepare them for jobs, it prepares them to lead. Lastly, we must remember that governance creates trust. Innovation is exciting, but it can be risky. Strong laws and collaborative efforts ensure that digital tools save people, not exploiting them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we have only 1 minute left in this session. Would like to quickly hear your thoughts, Dr. Isa, about the international collaboration that the Shura could do, that can foster the collaboration with international organizations for the digital frameworks.
Thank you so much, Najwa. Well, we can continue to create new strategies, actually, and I would say that most important one would be to build on the foundation of current and new trust-based partnerships. Actually, here in Saudi Arabia, under our digital government strategies, we have adopted collaboration between the private sector and public institution, develop more effective smart services. And movement to global level, we can help parliaments talk about their priorities in forums such as the United Nations Global Digital Compact, which we are already a part of it. Also, we actually would like to learn more from frameworks for emerging challenges, such as Europe Union General Data Protection, the GDP regulation, and also the African Union Digital Transformation Strategy, and last but not least, from the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Digital Economy. All of these initiatives actually involve input from business, government, and technical communities, and will ensure a more balanced and inclusive approach as we go forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. A final thought, Mrs. Kaiti, before we wrap up. A final thoughts on what would be collaboration, what would be the role of the parliaments to foster the collaboration with governments and locals?
Bien, sin duda.
I think definitely the collaborative framework. In the case of Argentina, we have a lot of domestic work because we have different states, and we should harmonize our judicial system so that we can compare our regulations with the region, and then see the friendship groups that we have, like my Pakistan colleague. This year in Argentina there was a parliamentary track where parliamentaries discussed all the good practices and regulations, and in the framework of the IGF and the parliamentary track is this environment where we all can meet and talk about all these policies and develop capabilities and capacities for these challenges. And have a forum like the IGF where everybody is represented: academia, private sector, scientists, technical community, parliamentaries, and the CSOs, as well as citizens in general.
I think it was a discussion or a session that it is full of a very insightful discussions, thoughts, and ideas. It's wonderful to hear and see what's going on in every country. It's very nice to see there are many common, I would say, steps across these different countries. But again, this is the time to close. So as we close, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our panelists for their thoughtful contribution and for our audience for your engagement. So today we've discussed the critical role of parliaments in shaping a secure and inclusive digital future, the challenges they face, and the strategy for collaboration. On behalf of the IGF 2024, thank you once again for your dedication to shaping a better digital future. We look forward to seeing you the progress that we will achieve, inshallah, together. Thank you so much, and thank you for the audience.